Welcome back to Marvel Friends After Work, a podcast that talks about anything and everything related to the MCU. I'm Casey. This is Joel. And we're short one of our, what do you want to call him?
He's a host. He's one of the three of the
you're
hosts.
the conspiracist. You're our conspiracy guy.
Sure.
I'm not sure. Nick's like the excitement guy. I don't know.
He's a hype guy for sure. Yeah.
The hype guy. There we go.
Unfortunately, he fell out of his rolling chair and is unconscious and wasn't here for the rest of this filming. So we're gonna have to do it without him. Yeah.
So he won't listen to this, so he won't know. You probably won't. Yeah. You should not listen to your own podcast. It makes you self-conscious. Anyway, what's on the docket next for us to talk about today? As rumor has it.
So we've already gone over Marvel's rumors, Loki season 2 rumors, Deadpool 3 rumors. Did you have anything else to tie in with the Deadpool 3 rumors with the 838?
The only thing that I didn't get to cover in our last episode about it would have been, I heard that Magneto was coming in because he was going to be taking Professor X's place on the Illuminati, and that would be why. And it was going to be him and Wanda, the other universes, or was it the Council of Kings? Somebody was going to see that as a threat because Wanda and Magneto are kind of going to go like on a revenge mission to try to protect their universe, something more like that. So it sounded like it was going to be somewhat centered on them.
I saw a very similar rumor, probably the same, could have been the same post, and I was thinking like Wanda in that universe is not super powerful. And she doesn't have the dark hold, but I did rewatch Multiverse of Madness recently, and she definitely do have powers. Like she's flying around and doing her magic thing a little bit, but we just didn't get the Wanda on Wanda showdown. It was more.
I wasn't sure if she had powers in that universe because Wanda from our universe was dreamwalking through her, and that's why.
Same.
Or
that's what I thought, but then he leaves her in that where the Book of Vishanti is.
That's true, and she kind of like brings herself up.
Yeah, she snaps too, and she definitely boosts herself up.
See, the better question is, did she create those children in that universe too, or did she actually? Because they didn't show a husband.
I think she created them.
So in every universe, she creates them.
No,
like out of magic, or she actually had them
the natural way.
Because they didn't, at least in that universe, it didn't appear that there was a dad in the home either.
Right. I mean, Vision could have still been destroyed. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how you make a baby with Vision anyway.
Robotic and a human made a child the natural way. Yeah. I don't see how that works.
But I mean, if Wanda could have just actually made him for herself all along, then why would she be jumping around from multiverse to multiverse trying to steal somebody else's kids, you know?
Because she wasn't. Because the Darkhold.
Well, the Darkhold definitely corrupted her, for sure.
Because I thought the other day, I was thinking, then the WandaVision doesn't really make any sense anymore because they didn't follow it. Because in the book, when she was reading it at the end of WandaVision, she heard her kids yelling for her, like, "Mom, save us or help us." I was thinking they didn't follow through with that, but that's the Darkhold tricking you or manipulating you, right?
Yeah. Demons or something were actually calling out to her.
It wasn't necessarily they didn't follow it. It's just that's what the Darkhold does. It tricks you.
Yeah. Okay. But there is rumors, before we get into anything else, there is rumors that there's going to be kind of follow-ups to that with maybe Witch's Road storyline, which so Agatha, Coven of Chaos supposedly is going to be trying to bring her back now that she died and killed all the dark holds in her universe. Maybe the Agatha in our universe is going to snap out of it and need to bring her back for some reason. And
that would be kind of nice because I know it sounds like we're going to get Wanda back and the Scarlet Witch back in some way, but I kind of want our Wanda back.
Yeah.
Like the one that we've had all this time, though. Age of Ultron Wanda, I want her back. And I was concerned they maybe just killed her off.
Did you read the rumors about the Witch's Road? You know what I'm talking about? With that kind of storyline?
I only saw one of the rumors, and I don't know the storyline well.
Well, I mean, I don't know it very well either, but I guess the idea is that she's dead, but not fully gone. Like she's just on the the other
Kinda
plane
like
of existence, like her soul is trapped, so they can maybe revive her. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they
I
do.
could see that. For the way like she kind of went out, especially on that mountain, which is apparently
Yeah,
powerful in some way. I could see that she's still around somehow. Or her
she
soul
literally
is.
dropped her altar on herself. Like that was devoted to her. Dropped it on herself, and then you see that little the red bloom at the end. Which,
The
if there
magic
wouldn't have been
question.
that red bang, I think everybody would have been like, "Oh, she might actually be dead." But you see the little red magic, chaos magic explosion, then you're like, "Yeah, she's got to be around." So
Probably. Unless that's what happens when you like kill a powerful being. They just explode in that light. Like Kang,
yeah,
he's gonna explode in like purple or like that teal blue that's always around him. That's probably what's gonna happen.
it's good colors, good colors. Nick can't see him, but it's fine. But the,
He's not here. He can't.
no, he fell out of his chair. He's unconscious. The next bit of rumors I had were about Doctor Strange 3 is rumored to adapt the Time Runs Out storyline.
I'm
And
extremely excited about this, and I don't even know much about the storyline of that comic. Though you've been reading it, right?
I just finished it, actually. I read it in like 3 days. And it's super interesting. The reason I was kind of bringing up all of the incursion stuff in the previous episode, you have to go back and listen if you haven't already. But that whole the beginning of Time Runs Out is basically all these incursions are happening and different groups of heroes are trying to figure out what caused it. They all have their own ideas to what's causing it, and they all have their own ideas on how to fix them. So they're kind of going about it on their own little tangents and teams. Doctor Strange, for the whole first part, is just like nowhere to be seen. They don't know what happened to him, which kind of fits in perfectly with the MCU because we keep having all these incursion things pop up. And at the end of Multiverse of Madness, Clea pops up and she's like, I need you to come with me, incursions, dark dimension, and he disappears. So he didn't call up the phone and be like, hey, Bruce Wong, I'm going to go hop into the dark dimension. He's just like, all right, let's go. Puts on his cape.
I like this for two reasons. One, I feel like it's reflecting what they're actually doing on the screen a lot. The comic run, like I feel like that's what's happening. And with the movies coming out, that sounds like what's happening. So that makes me excited. And then the other thing would been, well, I'll come up with it when my ADHD comes back around to that. Anyway, I can't remember what the other thing was.
No worries. So more on the Time Runs Out storyline. You kind of start figuring out that all the incursions are happening. Everybody's splitting on their own ways. And then at some point, they kind of bump into Doctor Strange again. And you figure out that he has teamed up with the Black Priest. And they're one of the main characters out of there. They can kind of just speak letters. And if you have enough of them together, they speak a word and it can just poof something out of existence. So if you were fighting against a group of them, they say these little magical words and boom, you're destroyed. Doctor Strange goes and joins them. And because he's just a master of all, he learns how to speak their language and masters it all. And he can basically do it efficiently. He can say it word, and form a full sentence and destroy all these things at once.
That's
So
crazy.
first, you think the Black Priest are actually intentionally destroying worlds for a bad thing. And then it comes into, is it like a necessary evil to kill off these worlds? Because if you kill their world, you kill their world, you save ours. It's going to be nuts. That comic in general is just kind of a mind-blowing thing.
With the Black Priest, I heard a part of room that Cleo might be then part of the Black Priest in some way or form.
Either she's like the leader or whatever. I don't know. In the comics, she's kind of like the Doctor Strange of the Dark Dimension. Like she's the sorceress supreme of the Dark Dimension. So maybe that's how they're going to adapt it. Is she's going to be like the leader of the Black Priest, and she needs Doctor Strange help to fight off these incursions.
And as a reminder to y'all, Cleo's the one that appeared at the end of Mom and took Doctor Strange
Yes,
to the dark dimension. It looked like
the South African
where she like
actress.
slashes like in the midair, and it just like
Yeah,
opens
she takes
up
out a
to what
dagger.
looked that dagger is. I feel like Loki would be
Charlize
impressed with that
Charlize
dagger.
Theron, right? That's the actress. I
That
might
kinda
have said her
sounds
name
right.
wrong, but that's her.
It sounded really close if it wasn't it.
South African actress, yeah. And she even had like the makeup to do her cool.
Her makeup was spot
Dark
on,
eyes and
especially with
everything.
her like bleach blonde hair. It looked really nice. She looks stunning.
She
I
did
did remember the thing I was gonna come back around to. The incursion thing where like everybody's off in their own teams and they're all trying to stop the incursions but in their own ways and eventually like all come together probably makes me think of like Infinity War, how they were all like trying to stop Thanos from getting different stones and then they all ended up together.
Yes.
Which I like that because it's like you're taking an element of something we loved from the first like three phrases and we're bringing it into this one. So that's what it was.
But it's even more spread out. So by the time runs out, comics go on. It's like after Civil War, after Thunderbolts. So you've got multiple teams that have like teamed up and split up, teamed up and split up. So there's like fragments of all these used to be Avengers, new Avengers, Thunderbolts. You get your magic wielders, and then you also have Doctor Doom who pops in there. So
which will fit with the Fantastic Four,
right? Do we think that the Fantastic Four is going to happen before Doctor Strange 3, or is that gonna? Right now, there's like no guaranteed timeline, but
I haven't heard.
Reed Richards is a very big part of that. Of what I read of the Time Runs Out storyline, he's like the genius trying to figure things out because Iron Man is missing. He's not dead in the comics. He's just missing.
So. It kind of makes you think that someone else is going to be the missing person instead.
Yeah.
If they're not going to use Iron Man.
I mean, they don't really need him to be missing. He does come back to save the day at the end, but you could fill him in with anybody pretty easily. But you definitely need somebody to fill in that Reed Richards role. You need the super genius who's thinking about all eventualities, who discovers that this is going on. And they already killed the Reed Richards in 838, so no.
That's true. Ahead. You hear so many rumors about Fantastic Four, but it's all about the casting. There's really been nothing to say where they're going to fit in this timeline, beside the fact that we know they're supposed to have a movie out before the big 2 Avenger films in year 2050. You know, that's coming out if it ever makes it.
And the rumors change like every day as far as casting, so we're not even going to touch on that. Like they literally have a new person up every 4 or 5 days.
Week.
Yeah.
Every week there's somebody else that's they're serious. They're in talks. No, they're
not. Yeah, they're in talks. Oh no, they turned it down. Oh no, they're in talks.
Like
oh, no,
once in a while you see a room and you're like, well, that would be cool. But then you just scroll past it because you're like, it's probably not a thing. But there's been no talk about where or how they're going to be used. Yeah. Except for the fact that I thought they said they were going to do it more from the focus angle of Susan Storm. Wait, is it Susan Storm?
Yeah, Sue Storm. Yeah.
Sue Storm. I keep getting her name mixed up with the X-Men.
Oh, Storm?
Yeah. My brain is like,
no, her name is not actually Storm. Her last name is not actually Storm.
But my brain gets really confused between those two characters. But yeah. But I heard it's going to be kind of focusing on like kind of like her at the forefront and then Reed Richards and then like the other two is what I kind of heard. Which would be different from the films they've already made. Because they've kind of always focused on Reed Richards and what's the character's name who plays the thing? The character. Grimm?
Ben Grimm.
Grimm. They've always focused on Reed Richards and Ben Grimm's angle of it and then introduce everybody else. I would like them to see it do it a little bit differently which they need to do it differently if they want it to be successful because they bombed it twice.
Yeah, I mean, even by the time time runs out, pops up during Civil War is when you get that kind of Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. They disagree on which side to be on, and they end up like splitting up more or less. So
This is like Infinity War. Like the Avengers split up and they all went in different directions.
I mean, yeah,
this is like a
what
really
they're
rough
doing.
model.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just taking the same climax movie they just made. So there's a really good chance between the two films we're going to lose heroes and get them back.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They're following this like rough plot.
I have a no doubt in my mind that we're going to lose people to other dimensions, and then they're going to come back in later movies because the incursions, they're re-encountering those dimensions and stuff. It's very trippy, and it's hard. It's very hard to follow the comic, to be honest, because it keeps going. You know, these guys went this way, these guys went this way, these guys went this way, and then all of a sudden it's like, remember 4 years ago when this happened, and this is when he actually came back here, and yeah,
I
it literally
find that
does that.
The incursion issue and characters moving to like different dimensions, different worlds and stuff because of incursions or stuff collides or portals is way easier to comprehend and get your brain wrapped around than the variant issue and the timeline. That makes still no sense to me. Like it is, but it isn't. Like my character, like say like if like Iron Man, if Iron Man was still alive, if he accidentally got into a different dimension and got stuck there and then he comes back later, I don't know, like that's a lot easier to understand how that works than be like, oh, this is Iron Man.
There is another Iron Man in one of these other multiverses, though.
Right?
So I keep saying dimensions, and time runs out, they're bouncing around in different multiverses.
What I get confused is the difference. Earth. I understand different variants for different multiverses. What I get confused is when they have like a timeline and there's different variants of that same person. You're thinking in each universe or is like as a whole are we talking
so
about?
Yeah. And in the sacred timeline that we're talking about, there's actually
one of those
in there, but it's just a very tight multiverse. Like Kang trimmed the branches so that everything is very similar. So all of the characters other than Alligator Loki, I don't know.
So it's almost like I don't even want to know. Probably like someone played a trick on him or he lost a bet and someone turned him into an alligator. He was not an alligator at every point in his life. There has to be an earlier version of him and then he's going to meet the alligator version go, what happened? Does that me in the future? Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is. Doesn't end well for you.
He had an alligator bite off his another variant's arm. So that was just them playing with stuff at the void. But yeah, so far all of those timelines, they're all in a big ring like this, and those are all different dimensions, but they're tightly coiled, or multiverses, and they're all tightly coiled to where they're not all that different. But now that they killed He Who Remains, that tight coil is now going and frayed out.
So in a way, in each of the different universes for the multiverse, in each of the different universes, Kang was just keeping one of each like person. But since there's no one keeping track of it in one universe, there's now different variants of that because different stuff can happen.
Yeah, I think He Who Remains was trying to prevent any other types of Kangs from happening. So at the end of WandaVision, at the end of Loki, he's so bored with that he's just like, whatever, let the chaos happen. I'm done. I've been here for forever. It's very boring sitting here at the end of the time. Let's let some chaos reign. And then when Loki stabs him, I think that's when the TVA starts going haywire, and that's where we're going to come to in Loki season 2. Start to see some of these incursions happening, timelines, different people crossing over.
Doctor Strange 3 that it's going to be confirmed that the Council of Kings is going to be the one who's been causing the incursions.
No, that's okay, so maybe that's Kang Dynasty is the one that has the rumors for the 3 Council of Kangs to show up, right?
Or did you read I read said Well, it said Doctor Strange 3 will confirm that the multiverse is dying mainly due to the incursions being caused by the Council of Kings. That's what I have written or have it in my notes.
Which is awesome, and I like it. But after reading the time runs out thing, like everyone is positive at one point that this is what's causing the incursions, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, it's definitely this is what's causing the incursions. And it turns out that like none of that stuff even matters. There's people on a whole nother plane, like talk about celestials and stuff, that are just using us as pawn pieces and eggs. And then there's somebody on top of that using them as pawn pieces.
You know
So
how the whole MCU is going to end? It's going to end with like kind of like how She-Hulk did, where she goes into the writer's room, and then like the person on the very top is they're gonna walk into a writer's room, and somebody's gonna be writing all this stuff, and they're gonna be like, "What layer are you gonna add on next?" It's gonna be like one of those things. They're gonna like come out of the movie world.
It's literally like a Russian nest doll, like a backwards Russian nest doll when you go to this, because they're like, oh, all this matters. That doesn't matter as much. This matters. Oh, that doesn't matter as much, because there's a bigger threat, until they get to the very end, and that's when they figure out that like there's these people that are just using us as a science experiment, more or less. Like we're a petri dish to them, and they just decide that they are going to light the petri dish on fire, and that's what the incursions are. But Doctor Doom plays a huge part with Molecule Man, and they actually figure out that they can go back in time and more or less get above them, grow bigger than them, stop them from doing that. I told you, it's I don't even know how to explain it. It's so mind-blowing. You should read it. It's worth it.
I do want to.
Everyone out there should read it.
Time runs out.
Time runs out.
How many issues was it?
It's like 5. The whole compendium is like 5 volumes. So it's
$5.
Yeah.
Like 5
or 6 books. Yeah.
That's not bad.
But if you've got Amazon, you get it free. Comixology, I recommend it. That's how I was able to read it without paying $150 to buy the book. So,
yeah, I don't have that kind of money.
All right.
But yeah. I have Amazon Prime. I could do that.
Yeah. Possibly. Totally worth it. But yeah, I think
I can't decide if that would give me spoilers or not.
No,
I mean, obviously not.
They're adapting part of Time Runs Out, and just for Doctor Strange's story. So they might just kind of wipe the first 3 volumes and the last 3 volumes, and maybe the Doctor Strange part about him going and working with the Black Priest. Maybe that part is kind of accurate, but they're always going to change things up to be how they want it in the MCU. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but at least if you read it, you'll be like, I kind of have an idea where they're going with this storyline, right?
I'm really getting excited for the whole multiverse, the incursions. I like where it's going. We're finally getting to the point where like the movies I'm getting excited for the multiverse saga part, except for then you have like these sections of like, and I get it, they might tie in, but like you have the Secret Invasion, you're gonna have Thunderbolts, you're gonna have Brave New World, and those films they don't seem to quite tie in the same way. So I'm like less excited.
Yeah,
for those
ground
in
level,
some ways,
right? So if we're talking about multiverse issues, then Captain America and the Thunderbolts seem very grounded on Earth, like not a very big multiverse threat issue.
Like I'm excited for those. No? Like I am, but like when those movies all come out, it's like I'm kind of zoned into those. Like Secret Invasion, when it came out, I was like, yeah, and I got into it, and I really liked being away from the other stuff. But I still feel like they're 2 different paths, and I would like to see how they're really going to make it feel included.
Well, they got to address it in Marvels, right? Because that's the immediate following one. I feel like they had scrolls in the trailer being on
Marvels.
The Saber, yeah.
They did.
Being on the Saber station, so we're at least going to get hopefully some kind of a conclusion to that. Like, this is what we were talking about with that. And then Big Threat comes in, and maybe Skrulls can learn to coexist with humans, because otherwise all of Earth is going to get eliminated,
I feel
incursion
like
style.
I feel like in Fatwa's like oh, what is his name in the show? Sam Wilson. He kind of like
Captain
foreshadowed this all
Falcon.
coming. Yes, Captain. See, that was a much cooler name. First time I watched it, my sister watched it. We were like, that would have been so much cooler. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't go with Captain Falcon. That's awesome. But he kind of like foreshadowed it when Bucky said, "Well, who are you fighting now?" You know, they had that conversation before they left on like that first mission. And he's like, I always feel like we're fighting one of the big three: aliens, androids, or wizards. And that's literally like how the MCU works. It's one of those three when they're
You nailed
fighting
it.
them. He's not wrong.
Except they do the distinction between wizard and warlock,
Nah.
right? Warlock's
What do
just
you
a
mean?
wizard with a hat, or he makes some kind of joke like
He
that.
said, no,
But
no, no. Doctor Strange is a wizard. Ah, wizard is a sorcerer. Oh, he's a sorcerer. That's what he says.
right.
Like I said, he's
There's
a
a wizard with
sorcerer.
a hat, right?
Without a
And
hat.
they made that distinction in Doctor Strange 2, that the symbols on the first beast, the octopus beast that comes in the very beginning of the movie, he's got all the symbols on all of his tentacles, and they were like, "Oh, this is witchcraft, not sorcery." So apparently, there is a difference between witchcraft and sorcery in the MCU.
Wait, in which movie was the octopus thing?
Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. And like the very beginning, he's
Uh,
at the wedding,
you're
and
right. I
then
remember that. Good
Gargantuan,
point.
whatever they called him. I
See,
don't
the
think they
minute
gave him
he
a name.
said that, I kind of thought it was supposed to be a callback to Wanda, and that's how she was going to get involved because she's a witch.
Yeah, I mean that's what he says.
Hopefully.
These are runes. This is witchcraft, not sorcery. So that's where they made the distinction. So the Darkhold is technically witchcraft, not sorcery. It's just one of the many books. Doctor Strange reads all the books
Eventually.
eventually. Yeah, hopefully that's how it turns out. What else? We got rumors about Kang Dynasty with the big three that we saw at the end of Quantumania, which we presume to be Ramatut, Immortus, and Scarlet Centurion. And there's also a rumor that there's going to be 3 teams to fight each one of those 3 groups, with a leader being Doctor Strange, Captain Falcon, Sam Wilson's Captain America, but they didn't list a third one. Who do you think would be leading that third group?
I saw something about that. I was thinking because they kind of had a ground team, and then you had, I mean, I guess a little bit you're thinking like Captain Marvel. A
Okay,
little bit. Or one of the Marvels. You know what I mean? Like someone more the galaxy side.
I could see that, but
Because they're kind of
I was
missing that.
thinking, yeah, I was thinking the opposite, because Doctor Strange and Captain Falcon, Captain America, they can both fly. So I was thinking, who's going to be fighting them ground level?
Okay, what about like Loki?
Loki's still trapped in time. Is he going to come back and join
He
to
knows
fight?
about all the kings, so he could lead his own team to defeat a king.
I like it. I like to think that he's fighting it from the inside, though. Like
Right.
he's fighting with the TVA. I think he's going to turn the TVA to be like, eliminate all these other guys, and only those 3, Ramatut, Immortus, and Scarlet Centurion, are going to be what's left. So they're trying to, I don't know. They're trying to take over Earth so that they can continue to rule, because all the rest of the kings are gone. They lost their Council of Kings.
One of the other rumors for a possible leader would have been like Ant-Man for the quantum realm
You think he could lead a
section of it.
team, though?
I don't think he can lead a team. No, but
Like
I
Hank,
understand.
old man Hank Pym, I could see him leading, but Ant-Man, you see
I
him
don't really
leading the
see any
team?
of them being the leaders. I can't see anybody willing to listen to Hank. Like, honestly,
He can talk to ants,
nobody
though.
knows him. No one really knows him. Like, all the rest of the Avengers, they don't know him.
That's true. He's old and outdated. He's the
Outdated.
4-year-old varsity member coming back to play again. Yeah. Oh, did we run past our time, or are we open ended on this one?
We are open-ended.
Oh,
Usually we
nice.
like to keep these things at 30-ish minutes, but we have a couple more rumors. I don't mind going a little bit longer.
There's rumors for
If our audience can bear with us in our
bear with the
rumbling.
rambling. Yeah. We're
Rambling.
rambling
I said
around.
rumbling, rambling. They both start with an R.
Rumble.
It's a rumble. It's a rumble.
I was kind of
Ramble.
hoping that we'd have like a literal ground hero to team up against those groups, like a Spider-Man or Daredevil or
Spider-Man's a good
She-Hulk even
option.
could be in there. I mean, she hasn't really done anything yet to be an Avenger, but I'm sure by the time King
I
Odyssey
mean,
comes around,
you
that's
do
the
have
first
your ground team,
Avengers,
right? I mean, you do have your ground team. Sam is very much so a ground hero. He is.
but
You
he
didn't get the super
flies.
soldiers. I mean, Tony
Bucky is a
Stark.
ground level
Would you
hero.
have considered Tony Iron Man when, like, you would consider him a ground hero? He could fly,
No,
but he
he can
was a
fly.
ground hero.
I
Yeah,
see
but
what
I
you're
don't
saying.
expect
You're talking
him to
about like
lead a team.
space. Yeah, you're
He
talking about
wouldn't
like
lead a
space.
galaxy team. He wouldn't lead a magical team. He wouldn't lead, like, he's a man, like a human team on the ground. Is what
Yeah,
I guess I think of.
a grounded hero without actually being grounded. He can fly.
The people they would lead, whether they can fly or not, the people they would lead are ground people. Nobody from space is going to be following their lead.
But like if
Like,
they're
as a
attacking
team.
New York, who do you have to lead that group? Spider-Man, Daredevil, all those
Sam
people.
Wilson. Do you think
Do
we're
you
going to
think?
get any more Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier in there?
Ooh,
Or he's
so
kind
that
of
was
joining the
another
Thunderbolts, so maybe that's something else.
rumor with the Thunderbolts.
Why,
I
he
don't
was
know
going
if
to die?
it's
I hope not.
yeah, that's the rumor.
No! That's
Yeah,
terrible! I
I don't
didn't
know.
hear that!
I mean, it's just a rumor, so don't
It's a terrible
don't
rumor.
cry yet.
I
But
am
yeah,
not going to believe that rumor. Even when it happens on
supposedly
screen, I'm not going to believe that rumor.
Sentry's gonna kill him, but
It's terrible.
it's very early. They might not even be done with the full script and
To be
everything.
totally
So
honest, I don't know how much longer you can do something with the character. He's
so
been around so long. What
I do
story
think they
arc do you
wasted
got
him.
left?
They wasted him a
Yeah,
lot, right? They could have done a lot more with him in Wakanda Forever. I mean, I understand that was a little more centric on Chadwick Boseman and supposed to be those characters, but I think
give credit.
him working with so he's the White Wolf, right? In the comics, they actually have a group called the White
They have
Wolves,
they have to do something with that. There's no way he goes White
right?
Wolf and they never pick it up again. Even within the Thunderbolts, like somehow after before there has to be a flashback to something about that. That would be
About him
irritating as
earning the
crap.
title, right? Yeah.
Like, how'd you
So
get that title?
yeah, in the comics, they got the Dora Milaje is like the badass Queen's Guard, King's Guard, and it's more or less all females. As far as I know, it's all females. And then they have the White Wolves, which are basically dressed like Black Panther, but all white garb. But they can also like camouflage themselves, like active camouflage. So they're more like a
Mm.
clandestine. They can send these people out to do this stuff. But they
That's
didn't do that.
another.
So I mean, they had what did they call them in Wakanda Forever? They're not the Dora Milaje, but two of the members of the Dora Milaje go
The
out and
Midnight
do these
Angels
Midnight Angels. Yeah, yeah. So they
was
did the
another.
Midnight Angels, but they didn't do the White Wolf. So
I'm just gonna
where's
be
Bucky at?
pissed if
Right?
they don't do something with it.
Where's the one white boy at? They brought the other one back. They brought the colonizer back instead of the
Everett Ross.
yeah.
Ross is one of my
Everett Ross.
favorite characters. He's one of those characters like I don't know. There's nothing like he's not like a Tony Stark or something, but he's just great. He's funny, but he's also like the serious character. He's just a good character to have mixed in to a storyline.
Yeah.
So
And he believes it when they're like, "You can't say that." And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
it's good.
Was he a scroll though the whole time? No.
No,
We got to go back and rewatch it now.
because he was wearing at the end when what
At
was
the end of
at the end of Wakanda Forever when he was going to
okay,
be taken to jail. what was the name of the what was her name? She saved him out of the police car. It's slipping. My mind's slipping.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. What was
But she was one of the Midnight Angels. She's the leader of the Midnight Angels.
She's the main
right?
one that's with
She is
Shuri
the
all the
Midnight
time.
Angel. She was even in the armor. Yeah.
She's with Shuri all the time. Okoye. Oh my word, that
Okoye.
just drove me nuts. I was pretty sure it was Okoye, right? Who broke him out. Anyway, the clothing that he was wearing is what he was wearing at the end of Secret Invasion when they broke him out of the pod thing. So they're saying from that moment on. So if you use that logic with the same as we're using with Rhodey, he's been Ross all the time that we've ever seen him on screen. He's been our Ross, not a Skrull.
Okay.
Which makes me very happy and relieved.
So was that not Okoye then? Was Okoye a Skrull?
Shit.
Right?
That's a good point.
Somebody in there. Somebody's
That's
a
really
Skrull.
good point. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Probably.
Do you think we're getting Baron Zemo back for Thunderbolts? I would love him to be in Thunderbolts.
I thought he was already announced for the cast list way back when.
No, the Thunderbolts. I don't want to pull it up right now, so it'll take forever. But Bucky, Black Widow, Red Guardian, which is their Black Widow's dad.
Oh, the daughter.
Ghost. Is that what you're gonna say?
Taskmaster. No, Taskmaster.
Taskmaster. Ghost.
I thought I heard that Ghost dropped out, but that was a rumor a while back.
Might have. I don't know.
I heard that the actor I thought was backing out of it or wasn't going to do it anymore or something like that.
Well, that's a shame because that character has barely even been in it. Like she was just a little minor villain.
Right. It'd be nice if the character came back, but at the same time, it won't ruin anything if they didn't. It's been so long, and it wasn't like they really established that they were going to do something with it. Not really.
Yeah.
They did and they didn't. If they continue to use it, then they did. But if they don't, it was just one of those things.
Yeah.
Personally.
But she was doing the phase shifting, and they were talking about like the quantum phase shifting. So if
you're right. Never mind. They brought that back.
Between planes.
Because in Secret Invasion, Gaia had that phasing power. So you're right. They did use it again. So it'd be a shame if they just let the character go. Which then I might have been wrong. That wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
What, did you have any other rumors? Or did we cover? We covered most of them, right?
We covered the majority of them. Yeah, Fantastic Four. I'm just curious if they're ever going to bring Doom in, because then time runs out. Doom is a huge part. Doom and a guy called Molecule Man, which they haven't introduced at all in any way.
I think they replaced that with the quantum realm for at least the MCU. I don't think they'll ever get into the Molecule Man. I think they'll just replace whatever they want to do with that storyline, possibly, and just use quantum in it instead.
It wouldn't fit though. All right, so Molecule Man in the comics, especially in Time Runs Out, he is like a Nexus being. So it's his personality is split among all of the multiverses. So I know it's hard to think.
Okay.
Imagine if he was at the very beginning.
That makes sense. Yeah.
His memories and everything are scattered across. So even in the comics, there's a part where he's like sleeping and he's having dreams about being one of those other people. So it's like dream walking, more or less, but without reading the Darkhold or anything to do it. And Doom is like asking him, "Did you have dreams today?" He's like, "Yeah, same as always, but I was in this place this time." But
that sounds like an interesting character. I kind of like to see it on screen.
Yeah, I like it too. And they kind of team up. Doom ends up following the Molecule Man. I don't want to ruin the thing if y'all want to go back and read the comics run, because it is very interesting, and that's probably one of the better twists. But Doom and Molecule Man go off and they do something, and it's their part to fix the universes. the multiverses. Yeah.
From the incursions.
From the incursions. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely from the incursions. And it's interesting because it's Doom, right? So Doom's kind of a anti-hero villain. So the whole strategy is not the best. It doesn't seem very nice on paper, right? So I'll leave it at that. But yeah,
That's a decent rumor to end this episode on. What was the comic run though? Like so that people can go read it if they want. What was that one?
oh, that Avengers time runs out, so it's in
Oh, it's
that
all in
stretch.
that one.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in. It references it a couple times throughout it. The big reveal is towards the end, like 4 out of the 5, volume 4 of 5. But it introduces them kind of early. I'm talking about the compendium, by the way, because you could read all these different comic issues, or you can read the compendium, Avengers Time Runs Out, and it keeps them all. Yeah.
So, guys, I'm going to have, at least on YouTube, so if you check our YouTube channel, in the show notes below, I'm going to have the name of the comic so you can make sure you check it out. You can find it, what did you say, on Amazon Prime? Maybe you could read it.
Yeah, if you
free?
have Amazon Prime, if you look it up, it gives you Kindle Comixology as an option, and it's either free or it's a very like $10 subscription to
it beats the very
3
expensive
months.
comic books.
150 for the whole list of them. Yeah.
Well, it might be a good investment if they end up taking it and
Sure.
years down the
Sure,
road.
sure.
If you're interested in that type
But
of
you can read it
business,
for free first and then be like, yes, you know what? I want that comic.
I want to
all
invest
those
in that one.
comics.
I want all of them, every single one. Okay, guys. Well, you can find us obviously here where you're listening. You can find us. We do Twitter Live. We have our new YouTube channel. Please go check it out. You can find us on Instagram and Reddit. So please check us out. If you guys ever have something you want to hear or something Pacific Marvel you want us to talk about, just hit us up on our socials or our Gmail, and maybe we'll talk about it on the show. So, see you guys next week.
Appreciate y'all listening / watching, and we'll see you on the other side.
See you guys.